let's say you want to use this microbit to power this motor. It turns out there are a couple of problems with doing that, and I'll show you how to solve each of them. First, in order to power your motor, you actually need more power than your USB cable is able to give you. So whenever you're using your motor, you need to use a battery pack. Not only that, you cannot use the AAA battery pack that comes with your microbit. You have to use this larger AA battery pack that I gave you in your box. The difference between that and this, well, one of them is that it has an on-off switch, which of course, if you want to use it, needs to be set to on. Okay, now I want to show you something that I can actually run this motor directly from here, a little bit like the way you connected your LEDs, which is directly to plug them into the power strip. My power strip is on the opposite side of yours because my Dragon Tail's a little older, but I'm going to plug it in and you're going to see that it works. I'm going to plug red into positive, black into negative, and do you notice that it is now spinning clockwise? You might wonder if there's a way to get it to spin the opposite direction. Sure, I'm going to take the leads and I'm going to switch them. I'm going to put the black into where the red one was and the red into where the black one was, and notice it reverses. And this might be obvious, but that's a very useful thing. I would say a necessary thing for a motor to do is to be able to reverse. So you might say, well, it's kind of lame, Alex, that you have to unplug and plug in your wires. Couldn't the microbit do it itself? And the answer is yes, but it's a little tricky. The solution to doing that is to be found in this item over here. This item, which is in all of your boxes, is called a motor controller. And one of the reasons you know that is if you notice in tiny print on the top over here, it says motor B, motor A. These are what's called screw terminals. So the way to add a motor is to unscrew these two screws with a small Phillips head screwdriver or a flathead, and then to put wires in and then to screw them together. So if you notice, I've already unscrewed this. These are nice and open, and I can take my motor and I'm doing this, I know, a little bit out of the camera, just put them in like this, and then I can take my screwdriver and tighten, 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 and tighten, 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 tighten. Okay, ta-da! It's a pretty tight connection now. Okay, you notice, hook up two motors, which could be useful if you're, let's say, trying to get two wheels to go, but you can also use it to do just one motor. Next thing I want you to notice about it is, let's wait for it to focus, the bottom. If you read the bottom from left to right, and let me try to move this as close as possible, it says B1A, then B1B, then GND, then VCC, then A1A, and then, for whatever reason, upside down, A1B. Okay, what on earth does any of that mean? Well, hopefully you can understand pretty quickly that GND and VCC, those refer to ground and voltage. So if I want to hook them up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take wires like this that have a female end on one side. In other words, a side I can like plug in, and I can just plug it in. Okay, so let's again focus, voila, I've plugged in the red to VCC. I'll do the same thing with the black wire. Ta-da, and then I'll put that black side into the negative terminal. Again, your negative terminal is on the left side, mine's on the right side. Once again, focus please, thank you very much. And then we're going to put this one onto the positive side. Okay, and you'll notice immediately that red light goes on to let me know, hey, this motor controller is working. Next thing I'm going to do, and now I have to do this a little farther just because the wire's not close enough, is I'm going to take my A1A and A1B pins. I'm going to plug wires in there, A1A and then A1B, and I'm going to take my A1A wire and plug it into pin 0 on the microbit. And I'm going to take A1B and plug it into pin 1 on the microbit. And you already notice that the motor is turning. Notice something else. Right now the motor's turning clockwise. When I press the A button, it reverses and turns counterclockwise. So look at that. I've solved the problem. How? Well, let's take a look at the code to figure out what's going on. Before we get to the code, I actually wanted to show you another way to connect, because you might not have male to female wires depending on like when you come to school or what you've asked me for. And you can actually just do it directly on your breadboard. But an annoying thing about that is that to put it on your breadboard, you have to do this. You have to smush it like this. And well, what's annoying is that now I can't read any of the pins. So what do? Well, what I did is right before making this video, just wrote down the pins in the order that they're there. So A1B, then A1A, then VCC, then GND, then B1B, then B1A. Okay, now I'm going to take them and I'm going to place them on. Okay, great. So now I'm going to take a wire that is not red or black, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to go from this top one, which remember is A1B, and I'm going to put it in pin 0. And then I'm going to take another not black wire, and that's going to be A1A. And then I'm going to place that in pin 1. And then I'm going to take this, the next one is VCC, so that's the positive side. So I'm going to take that, a red wire, and I'm going to put that into the positive side. And then I'm going to take a black wire, because the next one is GND. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to place that into the negative side. Okay, and so now if I turn this on, it's going to work.